world. It's Goju4 with you once again. Hope you're all doing well. Today, I have another figure review for all of you. A new addition to my collection, Gamera. From the 1990 film Gamera, The Incomplete Struggle, sometimes called Gamera 3. I'm going to be reviewing this figure. I'll give you all my thoughts on it in this video, so check it out.
Surging up from the depths of the sea on a tidal wave of terror to wreak vengeance on mankind. A gigantic beast, cavalcade of electrifying horror.
So unlike my other videos, this isn't really an unboxing because there's nothing to unbox here. I still have the tag on, which I haven't removed yet. I'll be first looking at the tag, which if you've collected Bandai Movie Monster figures before, you know that they come with a little a tag. It's a pretty nice tag, actually. It's quite tall too. I don't know if this is the new trend in the movie monsters. They used to not be this tall. The cover features Gamera from the film, obviously. At the bottom it says, Gamera in Japanese and even in English. There's a nice little kadokawa. It's like not even part of the tag, it's like a sticker that they put on there. Inside the tag, there's actually info on Gamera. I think it says his height and how much he weighs. I want to say it's all in Japanese. So there's a nice image of Gamera inside, and then the back has a poster for Gamera 3, which features Gamera fighting Iris, and it says Gamera Guardian of the Universe 1999 Incomplete Struggle, Gamera 3. This is from Bandai, who released this figure in 2021 last year. And they also released an Iris figure as well. Gamera 1999 is probably one of the most popular suits from the Heisei series, maybe even the whole series of Gamera films, and there's a good reason for it. It's a fantastic design, even though, like I said, 96 suit is still my favorite, but second place is definitely the 99 Gamera. It's a great design. He looks really scary, really mean, really tough. So the design was kind of meant to match that, and I think it's a really good design for Gamera, even if it came out more than 20 years ago. So the design of the suit is obviously one thing, but does the figure actually match that sculpt? I'd like to share that I actually already owned a version of this suit of Gamera. I had the Bandai Movie Monsters Gamera 1999 figure, which might actually be in some of my really old YouTube videos. So it's the same suit, but obviously this is a brand new sculpt, and I don't even have that Gamera figure anymore, so I can't really compare it. I'll say right off the bat, in terms of sculpt, this is a vast improvement over that figure. One big difference obviously too is Gamera's mouth is open now. Instead of that Gamera 99 figure, the mouth is wide open, the teeth are even detailed. The sculpt in general is really, really, really good. It looks like a mini X Plus figure at this point, but it's really well done. Especially for this being not an X Plus figure, not a NECA or SH Monster Arts, this is just a Bandai Movie Monsters figure. The sculpt is really, really good. It's top notch. In general, I don't really have many complaints about the sculpt. Maybe the fact that you can kind of see the line for where the bottom jaw is supposed to be. That is kind of a little bit but you can barely see it. And then maybe where the neck attaches to the body and the arms attach, but it is slightly noticeable. I'm nitpicking here. I mean, it's super good. The sculpt is really good. Maybe my other complaint might be that he's very hunched over. That kind of makes him a lot shorter compared to other Bandai Movie Monster figures of a similar scale. And he balances super well for being so hunched over forward. He actually doesn't really fall forward very much. So very well balanced, and his tail will actually stay up in the air. I mean, maybe if you'd like him kind of in a cool battle pose, it's perfect because he's kind of already in that. So sculpt is fantastic. Next I'd say, well, the paint job, right? So again, Gamera isn't the most colorful monster ever, so it's not like they had to really do anything too crazy, but there's a good amount of detail here with the paint job, especially considering, hey, this is a Bandai Movie Monster figure. This is not an X Plus figure. The eyes look really, really good. My one complaint is I think they're not lined up perfectly, so it kind of looks like he's looking off to his right a little bit. I don't know if this is a gripe, the teeth aren't painted perfectly, but all things considered, that's not easy to do, so I would say that I can't complain about it too much. There's a nice amount of detail on the fingers. They don't paint the underside of the fingers. The chest piece, or the bottom part of the shell, is actually painted slightly different. It's not that easy to tell. And then the shell itself has a bit of color. It's like a greenish color, like a dark green with some hues. And then they even actually painted a little bit, the like tusks on the back of his legs. Otherwise, it just kind of uses the same base, like dark gray, dark blue color. So the paint job is pretty good, I would say still. I mean, I really like the shell. I like the eyes, except for the fact that they're like not pointed the right way. But in general, the paint job I think is still pretty good. Again, not perfect. There's some things that it would have been nice if they had actually done. Is a Bandai movie monster figure. I still think the paint job's pretty good. And then we come to the last part, which is the posability. Now, again, I keep saying this is a Bandai movie monster figure. There's certain things you expect, and posability is always going to be somewhat limited. And in this case, the posability really is just in the legs. The legs can kind of twist like 360 at the, what would you call it, the hip, if that's what you could call it. Now, we've had other Bandai movie monster figures that don't have posability. The King Ghidorah 2019 figure, for example, that I have has no other posability. So this isn't a huge deal. In this case, this is Gamera, and it would have been nice to, I don't know, give him a little bit more, at least the arms. That the arms don't have any posability, and neither does the tail. But it would have been nice, at least the arms, to get some posability and the tail. Because just the legs, you know, honestly, it kind of makes this figure almost like just a little vinyl plastic statue more than an actual figure. Maybe that's what Bandai is trying to move towards. Maybe Bandai wants to treat these more like collector's items than figures for kids, which is fine. Again, if you're looking for something you can pose, you're definitely going to want to get your hands on more of an SH Monster Arts figure or something like that, because there is very little posability in this figure. And I think the Gamera 99 figure they originally made is actually better in that case, because I believe the arms could be posable, and I think the tail too. I mean, it depends on what you're going to do with this figure. If you're more of a collector that's just going to put it on a shelf on a nice display, then the posability won't be a problem for you. And it will look nice on the shelf. It's as I mentioned, the sculpt and the paint job is pretty good on this figure. But if you wanted to use this maybe for stop motion videos or videos, it's going to be a little bit tough because there's not much posability on this figure. So the biggest weakness of this figure, I'd say, is that the posability is quite limited. If I bring out my Bandai creation, I think it's a Godzilla 2000, but like special color version, you can kind of see the scaling. I think it's probably one of the figures that scales probably best with Gamera, with this Gamera figure. And still, Godzilla is, well, he appears quite a bit taller. This figure is also quite slouched over. But you can kind of see, yeah, Gamera is a bit shorter, but Gamera has a lot bigger, like the shell is quite big. It's fine, I'd expect Gamera to look a little shorter than Godzilla anyway, that's not a problem. Here I brought in my Bandai Godzilla Tokyo SOS 9-inch figure, just for another kind of scale comparison. Obviously this is a 9-inch figure and this Gamera is meant to be in a 6-inch scale, but just so you can kind of get an idea of how big Gamera or how small Gamera is. Godzilla in the 9-inch scale towers over Gamera. I think he'll scale alright with your other 6-inch figures, but no, he's gonna look a lot shorter than them. I don't have the new Iris figure, so I'm not really sure how that figure will scale next to Gamera. This is kind of the figures I have to scale against, and this is a Bandai creation figure, so this is the one that I picked that I thought would scale the best against my new Gamera figure. Overall, my thoughts on the figure. I think the figure, again, as I mentioned, the sculpt is very good. I think the paint job is pretty good, is lacking in a few places, and I think the articulation is probably the weakest part of this figure. If you're a huge fan of Gamera, you really love this suit especially, I think this figure is worth getting because just the sculpt is so good. I also think that for like anything less than, you know, $50 US, I think it's worth it if you don't live in Japan and you're buying them from outside Japan. Obviously they can get more expensive, especially with shipping costs. So it really is up to you, and depending on where you live, if it's worth getting your hands on this figure. Stay away from scalpers. You could just spend a little bit more and get yourself like a nice X Plus figure, or even get the Gamera 96 SH Monster Arts figure, which I think is still in the market. But overall, it's a pretty nice figure, and I think it goes very well with the rest of the Bandai Movie Monster collection. I think that in some areas, Bandai did a very good job with this figure, and I'm very pleased with it. It's a pretty good figure, and I'm very happy to have it in my collection. So another video about Gamera after my latest fan trailer that just came out, Guardian of Atlantis. I actually got this figure just right before that trailer was being made, so this wasn't really planned to actually be part of that. So this is just kind of by accident, but I do, you know, love making more Gamera content. I really like Gamera. I would love to make more Gamera content. And so if you guys like that, like and share and, and subscribe for more Gamera content. Like, this is the figure. I hope you liked it. If you've gotten your hands on this figure, leave a comment and tell me what you think of it. If you haven't gotten this figure yet, let me know as well. Are you interested in getting it, or are you gonna pass on this one? What are your thoughts? I wanna hear from you all. If you like this video, give it a like, it really helps the channel. Subscribe today for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.